Hey internets, it's Jake from Terrain Domain, and this is our Mythos Investigators Call of Cthulhu once a month game. This is episode 7 of Lawlerville, our Call of Cthulhu original scenario by none other than Ricky. And this episode is entitled By Becoming It. And in a few minutes, we're going to throw things over to our historian, gamekeeper, Ricky, who will get us recapped and up to speed. But first, as always, a couple of announcements. If you look up above my head, you will see Mythos dice. Whenever you subscribe, gift a sub, resub, tip $5, cheer 500 bits, all that good stuff earns us these Mythos dice that really they're just used to F with each other. We make people roll on the Mythos table.
Let's call it what it is.
I mean, really, that's all it is.
That is what it is.
But yeah, we have these in a variety of games, and it's a way that you, the audience, can have an impact on the game. I do want to say a shout out on this game because I think we did. In a previous game, we had mentioned this, and probably the last time I'm going to shout this out, but it's worth mentioning one more time. A couple weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, I think, on September 30th, we ran our very special Legends of Eleonora, The Light of the Child charity celebrity D&D one-shot with Dungeon Master Todd Stashwick, featuring players Matthew Lillard, Mika Burton, Tawny Newsom, Jack Quaid, and two absolutely incredible seat auction winners, Chuck Lazaro and Michael Steinbach. And that game was a 3-hour game that went 5 hours because they were having so much fun with it. And we were doing a great thing, raising money for the Pavlov Foundation, fighting childhood cancer. Edited down, the game is 4.5 hours. You can catch it over on youtube.com/Terrain Domain. But during that game, we raised, counting our seat auctions, we raised 32. Well, and there's been some new additions because the donations are still open. $32,689.69. Absolutely unprecedented, incredible to raise that much in a single event for a wonderful cause. It was amazing having all the celebrity players here and getting a chance to work with them and see what they use their celebrity for good. It was an amazingly fun game. And we raised a lot of money to help the Pavlov Foundation out. I just dropped a donate link in the chat. It is also on that video on YouTube. It'll probably be there at least, I'm thinking at least through the end of the month. We'll leave it open as we collect more donations because every penny helps. So if you want to contribute, you can do so at that link. Let's see. Last couple things before I throw it over to Ricky is we here at the table we've had a session 0. We stay in open communication. We've established our lines and veils, and we've set safety tools for ourselves. So please understand that while scenes can become graphic and intense, we are dealing with Call of Cthulhu, horror, body horror, a lot of those kind of elements, as well as adult language, all of that kind of stuff. One, we are making sure that one another are safe at the table, and two, if that is not something that you want to listen to or hear described out or whatever, if that's not your thing, I encourage you to head over to youtube.com/Terrain Domain and watch The Legends of Eleonora. That is a PG-13 fantasy adventure game, and we will not be offended at all if you do that instead. And then the last thing is we just want to remind you that you matter. Your presence on this earth makes a difference. Whether you believe it or not, it's true. there's any number of reasons that you might be struggling, you do not have to struggle alone. And we want you to know that you can come here to our chat anytime. Type in !help, and a couple of URLs will pop up. Findahelpline.com, or you can check out takethis.org's growing list of resources. We encourage you to check out those websites, bookmark them, save them for yourself, save them for a friend, and remember, you matter. With that, I now turn things over to Ricky.
Greetings. So let's recap. It's been a while since we've met and played together. Episode 1, way back, there was a giant gummy chorizo Lawlerville worm composed of the women of Lawlerville, mostly pregnant, destroying the bridge. We had reporters and cops and mayhem. Episode 2, I believe we were inside of a recreational center trying to kind of figure out what's going on, in which more chaos happened. Gosh, I'm blanking too on what happened in episode 3, 4, and 5, but I remember that in our last episode, episode 6, we were in a laboratory. Let's see. Better or worse? Good. Can everybody hear me okay?
No change.
About the same, but you're
About the same.
okay.
All right. So
That's better.
There you
that's
go.
better. Okay. I got all these dials to turn and twist.
Just make sure you scream into your microphone the entire session, Ricky. That shouldn't be too hard.
Anyways, we figured out that everything is occurring at this laboratory that's shaped as a pyramid on top of this plateau that overlooks Lawlerville and Great Falls River and the bridge itself and the city of Lawlerville and the city of Great Falls. And as we infiltrated the lab, what happened to Detective Karppi and Rebecca Worth, the reporter?
Great question. I will share what happened with Rebecca Worth. She got eaten by a gigantic worm monster. She got picked up and her head got bitten off like a
Her
freaking
torso.
crayfish.
Yeah.
And then she kind of became the evil centipede worm monster thing. And she is no more.
Yeah. Do you remember who bit your head off though? Was it?
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Karppi,
Yeah, there
wasn't
we go.
it? Yeah, it was Karppi that ultimately did the deed.
Yeah,
So-
she started a transformation way back in episode 1, I think.
Yes.
And eventually it took her over and she became a
Yes.
giant
I feel like it's a
wormoid.
quiz.
I became that giant worm.
Yeah, yeah. And then ate one of your teammates.
I tried to stop it, but
You were hungry.
you were
I mean, what are you
just-
gonna do? You were hangry at the time, and so
And I believe there was a because you pulled up to the lab driving the van, correct?
Yeah, with the big megaton bomb in the back.
Yeah, with all the
Yes.
great intentions on
The
saving the
nuke.
day. You did the opposite, right?
Yeah, flew out that window.
Yeah,
Died
yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
became a
That's
worm.
right. That's right. You didn't put your seatbelt on because of the luck check. That's right. And there's a duffel bag full of guns in which I believe Fender and Hawthorne took.
Oh, yeah, we stocked up.
You stocked up,
Oh yeah,
and
we couldn't carry the bomb though. That was a bit too
Well,
heavy. Yeah,
yeah,
and nothing
yeah.
has ever gone bad with Mythos investigators having a nuclear bomb, right? I mean, that's
right, right.
what could go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to think how many times has it been said in the game that hey, as one of your inventory items, put 50 kiloton nuclear bomb on the character sheet. So then what happened? I believe you guys made it into the lab and you followed Steve Hawthorne's sister, Melissa, correct? Who was at this point already dead because she turned to a monster hybrid of God, this is weird when you say it all loud.
turning into, of course. I mean,
Ricky, we've been
and-
saying it out loud all year.
Ricky's going. It turned into a
Is this
monster
a fever
hybrid of
dream?
so-and-so.
Did I?
And we're all
did I
just sitting here
hallucinate
like,
this?
yes, of course, yes.
Gosh,
okay,
I
go
wrote all.
on.
Yeah, this is nuts. Yeah, and yeah. So we realized that the projection was coming from like this orb-shaped volleyball that was projecting Melissa Hawthorne. But did we figure out if that was actually Melissa, or was it her consciousness, or what are the, well, I guess we'll get into the story and figure out what that is later on, right? But it ended with us going to the center of the lab. We have the giant worm creature that's been sucking up and eating all the citizens of Lawlerville, compositing this huge, because I have no better description, like kielbasa sausage tall of Lawlerville people, composed in like this glass-like tube that is probably the width of a football field inside of this lab. That's how wide this tube is, of all the writhing people from Lawlerville. And if you're looking at this tube, you can see some of their faces, and it kind of melds back into the bubblegum kielbasa sandwich, and it comes back out to the kielbasa sausage. And, you know, like sometimes you'll see like a hand press against the glass and then morph back into this giant bubblegum, you know, tube of people. And meanwhile, the pyramid itself is opening up, because I forgot to mention there's a great cosmic river that's just flowing above. I'm really trying to squeeze it all into one game session.
You're doing a great job. Continue.
Yeah.
If anyone's confused, just go back and watch the other ones, and you'll catch.
Yeah.
You'll be fine.
They're all on.
Yeah.
They're all on YouTube.
And then
on
I
YouTube.
believe Silas / Fender, with the shotgun, as Hawthorne is taking the flash drive that his sister told him to bring back to the lab, and he's giving it and pushing it into this chrome volleyball floating object that is projecting a hologram of his sister. He's projecting that flash drive. He's pushing that flash drive into that volleyball. And I think Silas was pulling his shotgun.
Yeah.
And aiming it. Who were you aiming it at that time?
I was aiming at the orb, actually.
At the orb. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I think
as if and correct me if I'm not remembering this correctly, but I'm pretty sure we were pretty close, like almost point blank range, like you know.
Yes.
We were right there. So my goal is just like empty, you know, whatever barrels I have into that. Whether it will do anything or not, I don't know. It may even damage the flash drive, or you know.
Yeah.
But,
and so Hawthorne chose to give the flash drive to the chrome ball.
Yeah.
Silas is pulling the trigger. I think we ended it with the sound of the shotgun going off.
Right.
And then a picture of the timer of the nuclear bomb that's inside the van that's crashed in the lobby.
Yes.
Of
taking down
the laboratory. I'm tapped already. Jeez, please, that's a lot.
Incredible.
Yeah, right. All right.
Also, there's
Yeah,
two
and-
new creepy doctors, and that's who Kaeryn and
There's
I
two
are.
new. There's two new creepy
Right.
doctors as
And
well.
I don't.
We're trying
I don't
to
recall. I
stop
remember.
him. Yeah.
I remember you said I saw my dad in
Thank you
sitting
for reminding
there.
me.
Yeah.
So actually, your dad.
But
So,
I don't remember if it was clear whether or not anyone else saw him or if it was just me.
so you see your dad. What it was? Is
'Cause
you
I've
saw
been
your
seeing him a
dad-
lot, so
You've been seeing him a lot.
Yeah,
Right. But
I have no idea if anyone else has seen him, but I certainly have.
in this circumstance, you see him. So what you see immediately in front of this giant football field shaped tube with all the people of Lawlerville inside of it is your dad. There's a chair in front of this glass tube, and it is the chair that your dad would lock you in when he threw you into the cellar.
Yeah.
Right. And your dad walks in front of that chair on the. So I'm looking at it. It would be the left side, and on the right side is the silver-haired woman that was at the first episode, with everyone jumping off the bridge.
On the bridge, yeah.
Yep. And she was also in the second episode talking to Melissa Hawthorne and in the recreational center. And she was also the one that touched Detective Karppi on her face when she only had 1 hit point left and kind of resurrected her. And she is on the other side of the chair, which would be the right side of the chair. So you have on the left side, your father, on the right side, the silver-haired woman, and this chrome orb that is projecting a hologram of Melissa Hawthorne. And now we can start to
Yeah, I mean, in Fender's mind, all he's thinking of is everything that his father's ever said to him was to manipulate him, was to control him, was to get him to do what his father wanted. And so, you know, he's thinking in terms of like, if if he wants something done, I'm not going to do it. In fact, I'm going to do as much opposite as I can. And if he thinks that something is a good idea, it's probably a bad idea,
Right.
because everything, he has that sort of, mentality of in his head. And so that was, if I remember correctly, getting back in the headspace, that was sort of his thinking when he pulled the trigger, because this is what Dad wanted. It must be bad. Fuck him.
Okay.
Because fuck him, that's why.
Perfect.
Because fuck him, that's why. Exactly. That's pretty much Fender's core philosophy at this point. Because fuck him, that's why.
All right.
Yeah.
And all right. So
all right.
So everyone's all squared up. Good. Our first scene opens with a knock on the door. It is about 3 a.m. Hawthorne, Steve, your sister has just got in from a night with Brock, and she's gone to bed, and you hear slight knocking at the door. What do you do? It's probably about 2 weeks before you ship out and deploy.
What time of day is it?
It's about 3:30 in the morning.
Oh. If I'm hearing a knock at the door this early in the morning and I'm not expecting it, as I move towards the door and I look to see that Melissa's out of the room, on my way to the door, I reach into the sideboard table that's near the door and pull a 9mm that's tucked into the drawer out and just have it at the ready as I peer through the curtain to see who's outside.
You see what looks to be a 35, maybe 40-ish year-old version of Brock. He's bloodied. He's in tactical armor.
Just to clarify, because I feel this needs to be clarified, 35 to 40-year-old Brock is expected right now, right? Like his age is appropriate?
No, your sister is probably between 18 and 19 years old.
Oh, wait, sorry. Yeah, this is a few years ago. That's right. This is before I shipped out initially.
The Brock that left you was a 22-year-old douchebag talking about applying for the police academy.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think there's a part of me that at this moment is kind of processing this as what in the hell is Brock's dad doing here? But seeing that there's at least a resemblance, I'll open the door part way, just with the pistol sort of off to the side.
As you open the door part way, go ahead.
That's all I say.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What do you want?
Is Mel back there? This is important.
She's in bed. And what do you want with her?
And you see about how wide is the door opened?
I don't know, probably like maybe a foot.
Okay. You see a combat boot kind of shove its foot in between the door so it can't be closed with combat boot on. And then you see like these, half gloved, bloody hands kind of reach over the door. And, and open it enough just wide enough, and a hand reaches out towards you, and it's holding a chrome-shaped ball about the size of a volleyball. The historian told me to give this to her.
I think
Make sure she gets this.
I think at this point I'm kind of realizing, maybe recognizing some of the body language and everything, that this is impossibly Brock. What is going on, man? How is this? I'm just stumbling over my words, trying to process this, and I imagine kind of unintentionally letting my guard down a little bit.
It gave me either spot hidden, awareness, anything that helps you see situational environment.
Spot hidden.
I have a spot hidden of 25. I rolled a 77.
That's a critic. That's a fail.
Oof.
If it was Delta Green, it'd be a critical. But it was normal fail. There is a flash of green lightning, and suddenly the person is gone altogether, and a pouring, sudden downpour of rain, and the ball that was reached through the door drops to the floor. But just before it drops to the floor, it stops and hovers probably about a quarter inch off of the floor before making contact.
I think I would quickly reach down, not knowing what this thing is for sure. I'm still processing what just happened. I'm gonna reach down and pick it up while still kind of looking out at the sudden downpour and the fact that what looked like old Brock is or older Brock is
He is 32.
gone. I say old Brock as I'm 50 and he was described as 35 to 40.
He's practically ancient.
But yeah, I would reach down and pick this thing up, and I don't know, if I don't see anything else outside, and with this sudden downpour, I'll close the door, and before Melissa comes back, I will one, lock the door, two, go back over to the sideboard and tuck the pistol back into the drawer.
What do you do with the ball?
I guess looking in the direction that she, whatever room she headed to, just kind of call out to her, Melissa, I think your boyfriend was just here.
No response from the bedroom. She's give me a quick what do you have to determine kind of emotional intelligence? Either wisdom or there's no wisdom stat I'm playing.
You probably a psychology roll.
Yeah, psychology roll. That works.
Oh, okay. I have a 10 in psychology. I rolled a 23. I'm going to spend the 13 luck just to make that a success.
You can tell that she's faking that she's sleeping because you know she just got in.
So looking into her room, seeing her baking, I just walk up to the edge of her bed and I just kick the bedpost.
What? I'm trying to sleep.
I said, I think your boyfriend was just here.
Duh, don't tell Mom. Way past curfew here.
Ricky's channeling M.
Were you guys at some kind of costume party or something, or?
Oh my God, you are so embarrassing right now. Well, we were at the drive-in, okay?
And he was dressed up as a grizzled old soldier? Police officer?
Stevie, it is... Look, she looks at her alarm clock. It's 3:21 a.m. What's going on?
I thunk this orb down on the table next to the alarm clock on the nightstand. I don't know, you tell me why your boyfriend's showing up at 3:21 in the morning, dropping off weird packages for you while dressed like he's from a Rambo movie.
As you put the orb down, it begins to roll around in itself and then begins to open up almost like a flower into this petal-like object in which a green light begins to emanate. And as the camera pulls back from the house, the green light starts emanating from the bedroom that you both are in, and then encapsulates the whole house, like just through the windows and everything. This green lantern. We are going to shift scenes. Dr. Izzy, tell me about the lecture you're giving today in front of all of your students.
Well, this one is particularly exciting. It's all about particle physics and the way that spores of fungi kind of emulate such things. And we talk about the chaotic nature and the patterns that they can make and what this means for the human psychology.
And Dr. Barber, tell me about the lecture you're giving. Is it in front of students or is it like at a convention?
I am actually giving a lecture to like in training to become doctors. It's not a medical doctor, it's a doctor of mathematics, and I am giving a lecture on would now be a good time, Ricky, to say what I have invented as my area of mathematics. My area of mathematics is non-Euclidean metaphysical interstitial set theory.
Oh, set theory. Oh,
nerd.
And that's from the first episode.
It sure composition. It sure as shit is. And by the way, non-Euclidean, for the record, in real life, non-Euclidean geometry is very, very interesting.
Let's have a real lecture. Let's go.
And as soon as I looked up non-Euclidean math, one of the things was, this is a frequent fixture in H.P. Lovecraft and his works. And I'm like, fucking perfect. So,
curved triangles with 5 sides. Let's go.
Damn right. It's like the globe. Anyway, so she is giving a theory to pre-mathematical doctors about this, and it's groundbreaking. And that not only are there pre-doctors here, but there's also press, which for something so niche is really quite something.
Okay, how long is the lecture?
This lecture is, if she had her way, it would be 6 hours long, but they have told her to keep it to under 90 minutes. And she's going to use every bit of that 90 minutes.
Dr. Izzy, how long is your lecture for your... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, this was a 3-hour class.
It's a
This
3-hour
particular
class.
one, yeah.
Okay. So at the end of both of your lectures, when the crowd empties out, a woman walks in and says to both of you that was impressive. It doesn't matter who responds first.
I imagine are we giving it in this same lecture hall? Are our lectures back to back?
Just
Are we standing on the poster for this lecture series like this? Is there a book signing later? Are we sitting next to each other? I need to know all these things.
Maybe, I mean, have you published?
Fucking of course.
Have you published, Izzy?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Then there's a
Multiple
book signing
times.
after. Not a book signing after Izzy's, but definitely a book signing after Barbara.
Wonderful. I imagine,
So-
do we say thank you exactly at the same time?
At the same time. Yeah.
The way that you combine abstractions, or I should say abstract hypothesis, with practical application, it's groundbreaking. I think you're being underutilized.
Dr. Macaulay smiles as though this is something that she has thought in her heart of hearts for a very long time, and she smiles over at Dr. Izzy to see if she feels the same.
Absolutely feels the same, because the students in this class usually do not seem to care nearly as much as they should, or at least I think they should. So
Right.
having somebody finally validate what I have been trying to teach is wonderful.
I'm sorry, let me introduce myself. I'm sorry, I'm Dr. Melissa Hawthorne. I've been given special grants by very inspired investors. And your research is amazing. I'd like to what if I said I could help you change the course of humanity?
Again, Dr. Barbara would reach over and like squeeze Dr. Izzy's arm. Like, this is very exciting, and yeah.
Do you know what the most fascinating part about this conversation is? With the two of you.
I can imagine we kind of look at each other at the same moment and then turn back to
There's
her
a
and
lot of like mirroring happening despite themselves. Like, I would imagine even like in their like little quirks and ticks, like we both have like a tick where we like adjust our glasses at the same exact way, the same side.
The most fascinating thing about all this is that I'm talking to one person right now.
Another confused mirrored look. Yes, exactly.
Dr. Izzy, I spoke to you at your lecture hall 2 weeks ago in front of your college student. Dr. Babs, I'm talking to you now in front of your convention. And she kind of trails off and she goes, what's most fascinating about this is that it proves my hypothesis, is that there are multiple wavelengths of consciousness occupying each individual. But you're fascinating because the wavelengths that are occupying your consciousness are combined into one person. And so that each unique personality is having a different experience of the same reality. And what's even more fascinating is that you've managed to fool the majority of the scientific community into thinking you are two different people.
I have a question for the DM. Do we know what we are? Like, do we know we're clones, or do we think we're twins? Or do we just think we're sisters?
Or just best friends, because
Or just besties? We're the two best friends that anyone could have.
You are
Yeah,
the same
that's
person in one person.
What the fuck? Okay, we're
You
not even
ever-
clones. We are one.
You ever, how can I explain it simply? For your brilliant minds, you ever drive down a street and listen to a radio station, and sometimes another radio station bleeds in, and you'll get a mixture of perhaps what the other person is listening to, and on your radio, that's what you
Well,
are.
I think Isabel turns into Barbara. That's exactly what your research paper is about.
And Dr. Barbara would say, I've never applied it in quite this way, but that is what it's about. It's about this, exactly this. I somehow knew. I knew.
Izzy,
And I would again take Dr. Izzy's arm and like squeeze it.
and as she's looking at you, is the dialogue happening inside your mind right now as you're reconciling this reality? Or is it something that you're saying out loud to me? Because you aren't talking. So, now that I've got your attention, what if I told you I have a way of separating both personalities so that each radio station can be heard in all of its brilliance and all of its wonderful melodies?
In your head, Dr. Izzy, you start to hear, yes, do it. Yes, do it. Yes, do it. Yes, do it. And it's your own voice, but my voice, but yours.
And I think in your head, you're hearing the, oh my God, will this hurt? Is this possible? Is it even a thing that could be happening?
Like the
Questions.
hesitation and the go, like all of it together.
Your mind is probably swimming right now. It's okay. I want to show you proof positive of my research. And she holds out her hand. And if you are familiar with the Predator movies from like the 80s where Arnold Schwarzenegger in them, a chrome ball decloaks next to her. And it shows its form. And it projects a green light on the this thin screen that you would do a lecture on, the projection screen. And on that screen are equivalent to the rows of matrix numbers and letters. And she goes, that's the equation for both of your consciousnesses.
The consciousness of Dr. Babs, like her heart is racing because she can. It's like I forgot is it Cypher in the Matrix like he doesn't even see the code, that kind of deal.
He just sees the reflection.
She sees exactly what all of this means in an instant, and it is the most thrilling thing she has ever seen in her life.
I think the only thing that Izzy is saying is like, this was my exact hypothesis that I was speaking to my students about today.
You said that part out loud. Am I talking to Izzy or Barb right now? I'm going to guess, based on the research papers that I've read in your thesis, I'm talking to Dr. Izzy.
Yes.
Will you join me?
Yes.
Yes. You hear two voices say it at the same exact time.
Spectacular. And as your eyes gaze at the screen, you see the numbers just kind of filter out of your pupils. Like as you see like this green light kind of just in your eyes. And now we are back to the present, where Silas is pulling the trigger on that chrome orb that everyone had just had the flashback on. Silas, how did you do on that roll?
Oh man, big reveal, dude. Let's go. Oh, he's doing it now. Oh my god.
Let's go.
Come on, Alex. Don't blow this.
Now,
I mean,
just to recap, Steve, what did you just do? You just gave the thumb drive over to it, right?
Sorry. Muted, Alex.
I just put the thumb drive into the floating orb.
Okay. Silas.
I rolled a 37, but I'm gonna spend luck to make it a success because my rifle shotgun is not as good as my handgun.
Mm-hmm.
So
I hate to be a stickler on this rule.
Sure.
Luck doesn't apply to skill checks, but we can push the roll and re-roll the roll.
What does luck apply to then?
Luck applies to situational things that are like, you're falling down a cliff and did you break all your bones or not?
Oh, okay.
And we can retcon it later, but for this specific skill check, if we want to push the roll, we can push it.
All right. I'll agree with then.
Thank you, Ricky, for that explanation. I didn't mean to sound so accusatory. I'm
no, it's fine.
No,
it's fine.
Well,
it's a tense moment, and we want
to. Well, as far as I know, that's not correct, but that's fine.
Sure.
In this case, I rolled a 10, so that is a success.
Perfect. Perfect.
It's actually a hard success.
Oh yeah.
And considering the gravity of this moment, and I'm firing a shotgun at close range to a mysterious orb of unknown origin, I'm also going to give myself Mythos die.
Oh, spectacular!
Because
tell me what happens. How much damage does your shotgun do?
Let me double check. I think it does 4d6. I want to say.
Okay.
But I want to double check to make sure that that's accurate. Stable. Okay, here we are. Yeah, 46. Okay. Do you want me to roll damage?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Please. And in the meantime, I want to know what Hawthorne is doing as he's seeing, like, the shotgun blast is going off within, I don't know, would you say 3 feet of you pushing giving this flash drive to this orb?
I don't know if it's even 3 feet. I mean, I kind of feel like as let's put it this way. I was trying to hit it before he put the drive in.
I see.
So I mean, like, that's kind of what I didn't. My hand is basically still there.
Yeah.
Like,
sorry.
Having just put it in, kind of reaching away. I'm singularly focused on this, not seeing that he's raised this shotgun up. He's standing close enough to me that if I wanted to, I could have probably grabbed the shotgun, but didn't. So this is a surprise happening at point blank range. I hate to say this because my one hand is already pretty mangled up. So I'm using my good hand, which is right there as he just blasted this thing with a hard success. So
this will be
more hand stuff.
Believe me, if anybody deserves hand stuff to happen to him, it's me.
You cursed thing.
This is where we're gonna ask you to, and I will allow luck for this one. If you want to roll dexterity, and if your intention is to put this drive into this chrome object, you can roll it on dexterity.
Straight dex.
And then the luck modifier will be used to determine if your hand gets blown off or not.
All right, well, straight dex.
That's if. But first, have you decided that this is something you decided to do this? This is a course of action you decided to go
Yeah,
down, correct?
I'm trying to follow through on
Okay.
my sister's request.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a 70 in dexterity.
Nice.
I just rolled a 7.
Wow.
Oh,
It's definitely an extreme success. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is an
Extreme success.
Yeah.
That's like half of what an extreme success would be. So
Yeah,
Right,
you
right.
God.
you push that flash drive inside of it, and what happens is that it becomes like this liquid metal type of object where it absorbs the flash drive and begins to glow green as a shotgun blast, goes off right next to your ears. Now,
Oh yeah, no doubt that pretty much everyone within a short range is a ringing at this point from that blast. Yeah, and by the way, the damage was 16.
16.
I think at this moment too, I'm going to speak for Babs as well.
We
But
are
we're
both
both
speaking for each
yelling.
other tonight. Let's
We're
go.
both
We're a team.
yelling, no!
No, 100% at the same time with the same tone.
Are you guys coming through like one of those hydraulic doors that opens and you're yelling at the same time, or
We had been talking to them.
Yeah, we were
so-
trying to stop Steve from putting it in. He was about to do that. We're saying that's not your sister.
Mhm.
And
Oh, so you're yelling no about putting the flash drive in, not it being shot.
Correct. We had tried to
Ah.
stop him from that, and
Yeah.
that was like the big bad.
Okay.
I'd like
Okay.
to think that if this were an 80s movie, there would have been a slight little pause before I shot the gun with me saying like, because fuck you, that's why.
Yes, yes, yes.
100%.
It's
Please
canon.
add that flare. Please add
Yes,
that flare.
100%.
And in the same breath, because you rolled such an extreme success, Hawthorne, give me some flair as to when you put that flash drive in before you hear the shotgun just go off on the side of your ear.
Oh shit! I have it the wrong way.
Yeah, upside down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's that I put it in. It doesn't quite go in. I turn it over. It doesn't go in. I put it back.
Yeah.
Third time,
I
yeah.
had it the first
Third
time.
time
Yeah.
somehow.
Every time.
Every time.
No.
Not
Because I gotta go with-
non-Euclidean
I
flash
gotta,
Yeah,
drives.
there
I
you
gotta
go,
with
man.
the
It's non-Euclidean.
with the 80s catchphrase. It would be third time's the charm.
Yes, exactly.
We laugh because we're scared.
Yeah, it's the way.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, ha 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 ha, yeah. Wow.
Because it's
All
so
right.
fun.
So you
we're
hit it
fine.
and you've targeted it. Now, this is where the luck check comes in. Give me a luck check on your hand as a
Sorry.
shotgun blast goes off.
I am so sorry.
Done.
So I have 32 luck. I rolled a 51.
Oh. Yeah, you definitely can't use luck on luck.
No, you can't. That'd be real.
How many
tough.
points of damage did you deal out in this one?
16.
Wow. Well, Hawthorne, can you explain to me what happens to a hand when it is getting hit with what kind of shotgun is it? 12 gauge?
Yeah, it's 12 gauge
shotgun shell.
at point blank range. Yeah.
But yeah.
Was it
Or
shot? Was it
hold on,
shot
hold on,
or
hold
a
on,
slug?
hold on. Give
Uh,
me a
I'm guessing it was probably buckshot because
buckshot. Give me a D4 roll.
who's rolling?
This will be
I think it's whoever's shooting the gun.
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, no.
Okay,
Because this is
okay,
happening
okay.
to one person.
Yeah.
Hawthorne, you give me the
Hand-
D4 roll because
hands
this
up
is
the
your
dice.
hand after all.
Your hand.
That's a 3.
All right. Which 3 fingers are blown off and describe that to me?
That's pretty much what I thought.
Just FYI, I rolled a 2. Just putting it out there.
Hey, we can make it a solid 5 and get the whole hand cleared. I have no problem with that. You know what? Because you said
Wow.
that, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Oh no!
Oh my god, this is why you don't
Okay, never
talk.
mind.
I
Sorry.
honestly didn't expect any of my fingers to survive this blast. I see this sort of, again, kind of relying on that cinematics there's this moment where the two that are one are screaming no at me as I'm fumbling with the drive and then put it in. The music, whatever music is playing, has just suddenly gone silent. As you hear the drive going in, at the same time you're hearing the pulling of the trigger, the firing pin hitting the primer, and that just... And my hand is right there. I'm using like this, so it's a pretty tight fist, and I think there's just this moment where in the blast you would see for a moment the flash of the muzzle blast, the sparks of the shot ricocheting off of this thing, or if it even does damage to it, but there's this pink mist that just goes as I don't even think it's the entire hand. I think it's like right
just
about
that
here.
top,
So
that top part.
it's all of the fingers and most of the thumb. So it's like 4/5 of my hand is just disintegrated as I pull my hand back and don't even realize it. I think it's just that shock.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't even feel it like at first.
Right.
It would just be,
Yeah. It's like, you know how like when you stub your toe against the corner of the bed, and you're like, oh, I've definitely cut my toe off right now.
Yeah.
But it's intact.
Destroyed. But it's not.
But it's
But it
not.
feels
But
like
this
it,
is the
yes.
opposite. It's the same
Opposite, yeah.
feeling, but it is obliterated. Do you look at your hand? Of course you do. Who wouldn't look at their hand after a shot comes?
You have to.
Yeah, I think there's that moment as I pull it back and then just kind of going, wait a second. This slow thought process of something's not right. And then just looking, and that's about the point where the jagged remains of my hand just start going.
Jesus.
With that sort of high pitched whine in your ears of the because now you're sort of partially deaf as a.
I think there's definitely a little bit of a trauma flashback, a PTSD flashback of just quick flashes of in uniform in the desert, shots flying around, mortar blasts coming in, pulling, the classic Tom Hanks on Normandy in Saving Private Ryan, trying to save somebody, and then all of a sudden there's a blast, and then you look down and you're just pulling half of the body. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. These quick flashes, and then interspersed with flashes of my own hand, and then just realizing that my hand is just destroyed. I think there's an immediate I'm kind of thinking how I would, now obviously I can't relate to how I'd react if my entire hand was blown off, but I've had some pretty severe cuts happen on a hand. My first reaction, no joke, when I almost sliced my thumb off years ago, my first reaction was, I'm gushing. And then I immediately grabbed something. So I think I'm immediately ripping off part of my shirt with my good hand, quote unquote good hand, and just trying to wrap. Well, at this point, just a hand,
better.
The only hand I have.
Slightly better hand.
But I'm immediately grabbing that and trying to clumsily wrap it because I don't want to bleed out.
As this happens, give me a quick sanity check.
Of course, I was just waiting for it. My sanity is pretty darn low at this point, too.
Silas, how do you react to it?
Actually, he's probably not. He's probably so focused at this point on destroying whatever this is. He's already racking the slide on this point. Like he went bang, and he's already ready to do another one. He wants to obliterate whatever this is because it's important to his father.
Okay.
And he knows that if it's important to his father, it's bad, just by definition.
Yeah.
So he's had enough. He's reached a threshold at this point.
Hawthorne, how'd you do in your sanity?
7.
Uh-oh.
Did he freeze? Oh, okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Oh,
I can hear you now. Yeah.
I didn't even get any kind of ping on this end. I said 7, and there was no reaction.
Oh, you passed it.
Nice.
You passed it. Well done. We'll still take 1 point of sanity only
Mm.
because of the traumatic
Oh,
event.
yeah.
Worse.
Dismemberment
you know-
is a major.
You are in full auto train mode. What was your job in the military, by the way?
I was infantry.
Okay.
But primarily we were doing a lot of base camp security, quick reactionary force, those kind of things.
Okay.
But I was also, and this is where this came in, within the platoon, I was one of several guys that was combat lifesaver trained.
Okay.
So I know immediate basic combat
First
Yeah.
aid.
Yeah. So like a light switch, that train just kicks into gear without your conscious mind even engaging in it.
And
it
I-
just happens.
I was
I
gonna say,
have
you
that
might not even
reflected.
recognize it as your own hand. You might just say, "Oh, this someone's hand is injured. I better take care of it." you
Yeah.
I
know?
bet take care of this
Oh,
hand.
yeah.
It's almost
Total.
disassociated from you.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I took
it's
a
like
few points in medicine to account for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you rolled a 3. You rolled a 2. So that's gonna be. I'm gonna give you 5 points of damage on your hand there. And how did you do? Give me a quick medical emergency field service check. Let's see how you do.
No.
first aid. Would it be?
First aid. Yep.
Yeah, where is it? First aid.
It's second column, a little bit past halfway down. If you're
Oh, there
looking
it
on the
is,
column
yeah.
within the sheet. Yep.
I have a 45 in first aid.
That's pretty good.
And I rolled a 10, which is
Oh,
Oh, nice.
which is
spectacular.
just
You
one
did
off
really
from
well.
what's the top one called? I forget.
Yeah.
Extreme.
No, extreme
Um,
extreme success.
But if I'm taking 5 points of damage, that's it. That's my hit point.
Oh, are you passed out?
I have 5 hit points, so I kind of imagine going into that shock mode. Like Alex said, I'm looking at it like it's somebody else's hand and immediately kind of wrapping it
Mhm.
and doing a really good job. You know, that training kicks in.
Mhm.
And as I sort of get it tied off, there's just this moment of thinking again that it's somebody else's hand. What I say to another soldier would be like, all right, you're probably going to be all right. And then I get a little woozy and my eyes roll back in my head and I just collapse.
Right. As you rack that shotgun for another one,
Mhm.
Dr. Izzy, Dr. Babs, what did you
Yes.
guys grab? You're talking about a protocol C or something to that effect?
Yes, yeah. Before we ran down this to intercept these guys, we made sure we grabbed the protocol C from
Mhm.
its little cubby hole and the ear protection that goes with it, which we
Mhm.
Yes.
stuffed in. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And the door hisses open as you come to the main laboratory, and you see this gruesome scene kind of plays out, and you hear the racking of another shotgun at the same time. What do you do as Silas is racking another shell into his rifle?
I
shotgun?
think there's no hesitation, and I think Babs would know this as well. I immediately just kind of opened up the container
Mhm.
of Protocol C,
Yep.
and these, what the camera can see are these tiny purplish white mushrooms, are inside this canister. But what you can't see, because nobody can see that, is that there's this psychic scream that is all pervasive inside of this room. Protocol C stands for psychic cacophony. So
Ah,
I'll let you-
yeah. So what is it? So what's this effect, and what does it do?
so basically, I'll let you decide what the damage and stuff is because I'm not
Sure.
good at that. But it's basically this: those who don't have the protective hearing protection like Babs and I have at this moment hear this scream that's actually inside their brain, like it's inside their head, and it's just reverberating. It is the loudest, most
Is
shrill,
it an
piercing sound.
actual sound or is it psychic?
It's
Okay,
psychic.
so ear protection doesn't really matter, does it?
This is special magic ear protection.
It can go both ways.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Well, no, because right now I'm probably
Yeah.
almost deaf from the gunshot already. So
Also true,
that's why I'm just asking, because if you guys are talking about ear protection, I just didn't know if it was like, if you can't hear, does it affect you? That's all.
That's one of those silly regulations that they have in the lab. Obviously, it doesn't matter and doesn't protect against anything, but we still have to
Fair
do
enough.
it. It's freaking
Fair enough.
Kind of like wearing your
OSHA.
seatbelt at 35,000 feet.
yeah.
What's
Frickin'
the
OSHA.
so is the intention to disorient or to destroy? Tell me the intention of this protocol C.
I think it's to incapacitate more than anything. It's to
To kind of discombobulate, I
yeah,
would say.
take
To
all
distract.
the thought. Yeah, take all the thoughts that and just destroy the thoughts that they're
They
having,
can't
because the
think straight.
sound, is.
And I would
just too
imagine-
pervasive.
I apologize. Even
No,
if,
we're talking the same thing.
even if
They're clones after all,
it's
the same person.
right, we get the same thought.
Yeah, just talk at the
Even
same
if,
time. It's fine. It fits into the narrative.
Even if it's not an actual sound, I would imagine a normal person's instinct would be to immediately
Yeah.
plug their ears, and it would create at least a few seconds of just ultimate pure confusion, which is maybe all the clones here need to
To get the
get
drop
the
on
shotgun,
whoever's-
get the flash drive, or at least stop these guys from using either one.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Again.
mean, it is protocol C after all.
Correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Give me first. I don't care which scientist does it.
Can we
Give
both
me
do it and take the average?
Of
We
course
have
you
the
can.
same exact character sheet
Of
by
course
design.
you can. Of course you can. Of course you can. Give me a D100 check first, and we're gonna roll this on intelligence. No. Did you guys? I'm sorry. We're gonna roll this on science.
Okay.
On your science stat.
Science.
What kind of science? Strange science or something else?
No,
My
I don't
call.
know. I think it
My
had to be strange
qualification
science,
says
right?
science. Yeah, it have to be strange science. Yep.
Okay. Perfect.
I mean, if you're using weird mythos mushrooms,
What is a 000?
Oh, that's bad. That's
Bad.
100.
That's really bad.
That's a fumble.
So,
That's
thank
a
God we
critical
are
fail.
doing average.
That's a fumble.
That's an absolute
Average
fumble.
because we're close.
Regardless of what the average is, I think that earns a Mythos die.
It
Yes.
probably does.
So I
Fuck
rolled
you
a
and your no hands.
I'm using my one good finger to.
He
push
still has
this button.
part of a hand. Don't
Fuck
Don't-
you and your 2% of hand.
don't hand shame him.
Okay. We're gonna apply that mythos die
More
in
of a
just
nub
a moment.
shame at this point.
Dr. Rizzy, tell
Oh.
me what you got.
I rolled a
That's cold.
52.
That is so cool.
So
So 52 and 100, the average is
What, 70 something? 76, yeah.
which we
And
could
our-
spend one luck on to make it up.
Hold on. Your
75.
averages are all jacked up.
No, it's
If-
not.
If someone scored a 52 on a okay, wait, I'm thinking wrong. Okay. No, you're right.
Yeah, it'd be 70,
Sorry,
76. Yeah.
Ricky, were you correcting the
I'm
math
sorry.
teacher in the 90s?
Yes, correcting the
She's a math teacher,
dare
come on.
you.
how
I
very
have an
dare.
$80,000 piece of paper that say I know how to do averages.
She maths. She knows how to
I
math.
Now that is still a fail by 1
One.
point. So do you want to spend the luck on it, sister?
Well, we got a mythos die here.
Oh, I forget we can't.
and
You're right.
so who threw the mythos?
I threw the Mythos
Was it-
at Cari.
That was
You did?
Hawthorne. That was
All
true.
right. I need you to give me a 3d20 roll, please.
Me?
Yes, please. You threw the mythos.
3D20?
Yes, please.
3d20. You want them separate or?
The total amount, please.
Okay, so
Okay.
that's going to be 11 plus 13, so 24 plus 4, 28.
28. Oh man, 3d20. That's not nearly enough what I need. But anyways, the structure shifts and changes around you, and now the tube-like object that is the size of the football field has become constricted within like 30 yards. So it's all one singular space. You feel a shift in the way time is reacting now. So the doctors will know this, whether you have a watch or some type of indicator that you know what the time is, because time moves slower in this pyramid. We are now moving at how would you roll there on your, you said 28?
Yeah,
28. Yeah,
28. Okay. Every minute equals 28 days passed outside.
you see 28 days.
28 days passed
Okay.
outside.
So 28 days later. Got it.
For every minute that we are inside of this structure.
Thank you. We're here all week.
The structure itself, astute. That's a good observation. Well done.
There you go.
The
Nice.
top
Thanks, Doctor.
of
Plus or minus.
the top of the pyramid begins to open up to show this great cosmic river. And what you can see through this cosmic river, now this has happened at 28 days a minute, you see an immense landmass coming to the surface of this cosmic river. But we got to resolve what happened with the psychic bomb. Fender.
Mhm.
Wait, I gotta roll. Both you guys give me a D1D10 on your protocol C.
Both of us?
The two scientists, right? Okay.
The two
Okay.
scientists. Yep.
Protocol C, 1d10. I got a 3.
I also got a 3.
Of
Fender,
course you did.
What is
We
your
are
magic?
one.
Amazing.
What is your magic points, Fender?
Oh, 12.
If you're willing to spend 6 magic points, you can resist this psychic bomb.
Oh yeah, 100%. I will gladly spend 6.
All right, you resist the psychic bomb as it hits the.
I was gonna say this is probably like par for the course for what his dad did to him. Like, like he probably did shit like this to him all the
To
time.
try to get him
and
to
and it's like
resist and
as soon
learn
as you
how.
sort of felt it sort of tickling at the back of his brain, he's
Ah.
like, he probably doesn't even know about the scientist because number one, he can't hear right now because of the shotgun, and he knows his dad is here, so he probably thinks it's his dad actually doing it. So he probably thinks like, oh no, you're not fucking with me again. And just and he just put up just shields, and just put him up to
Yeah,
to
I
block
imagine
it.
you say that catchphrase again. Fuck you.
Yeah, because fuck you,
Because
that's
fuck
why.
you, that's
Yeah.
why.
Right,
Alright.
exactly.
So Silas, what are you gonna do? So now that they've detonated Protocol C and all of the structures, you hear what you do manage to hear is 1,000 voices, all in confusion, shout out at once, coming from this glass cylinder of the people of Lawlerville combined in this meat tube. And you feel that psychic energy hit your mind.
Me too.
And as you rack that shotgun, your father is standing on the side of the chair. And he looks at you and he says, and he gestures to the chair.
Ooh.
This is what your fate and destiny is. And then your mother has foreseen your birth thousands of years ago. And he gestures to the woman with the silver hair.
Oh, it's it. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did before I respond to that particular thing, again, this is all happening like in a matter of like a less than a second almost.
this is all.
It's really fast. So as he sort of is racking the slide, which is just like bang, and he's ready to do another one. This is all happening that quickly.
Yes, correct.
Does he get a sense if this had any sort of effect on this orb at all?
Yes, thank you for reminding me. As you blast the orb, it kind of spirals away and does a pulse emanation through the whole structure of the facility. The vision of the hologram that was Melissa begins to flicker, and we're going to quick switch over to Hawthorne.
Yep.
Hawthorne, I need you to give me a... There's no survival. Give me a... I'm going to GM rule this. Give me a survival roll with disadvantage.
Okay. So that's an extra tens digit. Take the lowest, yeah?
No,
Even
you
though
take the
survival
highest.
applies outside.
Or take the highest, I mean.
Yeah, the highest.
Yeah, you
highest
take the
one.
worst one. Yeah.
Okay, so let me grab these dice. Okay. Well, I rolled a 28 or a 38.
Oh,
I have a
not bad.
40 in survival, so that's a success.
Oh, nice.
Stop. Look at you.
Nice.
You are able to survive, even though it applies to outdoors, but we're going to use it for this. With your stub of a hand, give me you get a 1 hit point back. And you see the hologram of your sister flicker away. In between consciousness. Now, flipping back over to Fender now. You are pulling the trigger, it exploded. You see the hologram of Melissa fade away. That is what you can discern what happened
Right.
here.
Yeah. I get. I can only take in what I see, obviously.
Okay.
Now I'm almost certain I don't know about the two twins behind me because number one, they're out of my field of vision. Number two,
Correct.
the attack they made, I could easily attribute to my dad. And number three, I can't hear a damn thing right now because of the shotgun. So my guess is he would probably, turn towards his father, and just because he's sort of in that sort of fuck you mode, he's just like, and because he already racked it, and he's gonna shoot at. Is the image of his father still there?
Of course it is.
Yeah, he's gonna shoot at that because even if he's not actually there, he's just venting his fury at this point at the person, at his tormentor.
Give me a quick sanity check.
Use up all those bullets. Use up all those shots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Will do. Hang on.
Can do me.
All right, sanity. Okay.
While Alex is rolling, please feel free to check us out on teespring.com. At teespring.com, we have all kinds of cool t-shirt designs like this one that is classic and all kinds of others. Teespring.com. Just search
that's a 57 and my sanity is currently at 56.
Oh,
so just failed.
Don't even suggest that, Kaeryn. We're not over there.
What?
Nothing.
Just
look away from the chat. Don't look at the man behind the curtain.
I'm not looking at the chat.
Give me a 1d4 roll.
Okay. 2.
Okay.
Tell me a memory about your father and yourself.
So, he would, at mealtime, he would force me to sit and perform this sort of eating ritual because he was big on rituals. Everything was a ritual because he wanted to sort of train me to get in that sort of mindset. And so when I would sit down, all the silverware had to be before I could eat. All the silverware had to be perfect. The plate had to be perfect. The positioning of the food had to be perfect. The glass had to be filled to precisely the right amount. It was this whole sort of setup that you had to do. And if it wasn't, I wouldn't get to eat at all. So and he would give me, a certain amount of time in order to set up my food so that I could, so that I was allowed to eat. And if I failed in matching exactly what it had to be visually, and I couldn't measure it, I had to all be just out of my own head to be exactly what it needed to be. And if it wasn't, he would, there would be this disappointing no, and then everything would just be removed, and I would just go to your room, and I would just have to go and not eat that night.
When the flashback ends, after pulling the trigger on your father, what you see in this laboratory is no longer the laboratory. You see a hall of cultists lying shoulder to shoulder with their arms raised up to the cosmic river, in the chair in front of the giant worm creature that is swirling around. And the silver-haired woman says to you, I know you hate him, but he made you strong. Switching over to the scientists, what are you guys doing?
He's just shooting into the space, I assume, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Steve's hands are not a thing anymore, correct?
Nope.
This hand's mangled, but I still have it.
Okay.
And you detonated Protocol
He is
C.
at 5%.
A little bit of
strength.
hand left.
Okay. Where's the flash drive? Is it destroyed?
No, it is within inside of the orb.
I would snatch that thing out of there. Or is it, like is it accessible or no?
It got
It is
absorbed,
too-
didn't it? Like,
Yeah, it got absorbed into the
Oh,
orb.
Yeah.
oh. I apologize.
By
Grab
all
the
means,
orb.
please grab the orb.
Let's grab the
Yes.
orb.
Let's
Yeah.
grab the
Together.
orb.
we grab the
Together,
orb.
of course. How else would we fucking do it? We grab the orb together. How big is the
You
orb?
both-
A volleyball?
It's
Something like
volleyball
that?
size.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's like one goes around the middle this way,
Yep.
and the other one
And-
goes top down.
Top to bottom. 100%. And we do
As-
not have to communicate that to each other. It's just the way it happens.
Okay. As you both grab the orb, you feel it's both a very dense and hot object that also immediately as you grab it becomes liquid and your hands go into it. And as your hands go into it, in both of your mind's eye, you see for a moment a green sun in the middle of the empty cosmos twirling about, just twirling. And as your hands go into it, it begins to envelop both of you and absorb both of you into its orb, into its metallic structure. Let's take a break.
Also, Jake, screw you.
Yeah.
Jake
No
is
head-
mocking us
no
in
more
the
head
chat
stuff.
because our hands are about to be messed up as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god, incredible. Well done as
Oh,
always,
man.
Ricky.
All right.
5 minutes 10.
We're going to take a 5 to 10 minute break. And we'll be back and see what the hell else Ricky's going to do to us on the other side. Stick around. We'll be back. And we're back. You.
All right. As both of your minds meld and your hands start first, as this quicksilver begins to reach up through your limbs and your forearms up to your bicep, to your shoulder, to your chest, and it begins pulling you in. And almost as if it's a gravitational black hole, you are pulled within this orb instantaneously. Hawthorne. You see two random scientists come out what looked like a canister. They did something and they manipulated it, and then you had an intense headache for a moment, and now it's gone, and now they have disappeared within the orb that you remember Rock giving you 20 some years ago at your doorstep at 3 a.m. Your sister has phased out of reality, and as you look up in the sky, this landmass has now peeked through the cosmic river, and it is composed of strange shapes that are breaking your mind. For example, you see rounded squares, 5-sided triangles. You ever draw a cube on a piece of paper and look at it from 2 different angles, and your brain can't figure out which angle is the right
Which is in
angle?
the front. Yes.
That is this whole structure landmass that is peering through the cosmic river. And Steve Hawthorne, what you feel is this deep, resonating bass sound that is just roaring as this landmass comes out of this cosmic river. And you feel the presence of malevolence that you've never felt before. It is, well, do you dare to continue to look at this landmass as it continues to push through this river?
I don't know that I have a choice since I just became conscious. I'm lying on the floor looking up.
You can close your eyes.
Can I?
That's up to you.
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
that.
This is your turn. You have 1 point of hit points. You can do whatever you want. You can get to your feet. You can look at Silas.
I think-
you can.
I think I would clumsily get to my feet. And the whole time sort of cradling my left hand that's wrapped in these bloody shirt now, just sort of cradling it and probably still just looking up at whatever's happening in this cosmic river. At this point, I'm so far out of any realm of understanding, any frame of reference for reality. And I think probably one of the last straws for me was when even the hologram of my sister disappeared.
What you see is, and it's almost as if you're watching a movie in fast forward motion. You see, and it's this weird upside down angle of, you see a whole bunch of aircraft carriers and destroyers surrounding this new landmass. You see helicopters flying around it, and then you see tentacles reach out and pull the helicopters down. And then like within all this time that is passing within each moment, so 28 days per minute is roughly like 2 days a second, something to that effect. If I'm doing rough math. Math teacher, please help out.
Now,
And-
I thought you said 1 second was a month.
1 minute.
1
1
minute.
minute.
was a month.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't help with this. God bless.
Yeah.
I'm
So-
off the clock.
No, this is what insanity means, right? And then what you see is, you see fighter jets scrambling around, and you see missiles fire into this, like, tentacles reaching out of this, like, structure and island, and it's to no effect. And you keep seeing more and more, like, aircraft carriers and destroyers and different types of military apparatus, cruiser missiles flying at this island, and nothing is having an effect. Silas, what are you doing with your shotgun as you've pulled the trigger and there is no more father?
All right, so he's going to turn back around and kind of assess the situation at this point. He's probably not going to fire at the mass of flesh, because at this point
It's inside of a case. It's inside like the cylinder, this
Yeah,
30-yard
yeah.
wide cylinder that was 100 yards that's contracted into 30 yards.
So in his mind, was the orb destroyed, or did what happened to it?
The orb flew like maybe 10 or 15 yards away from you,
Okay.
and it took some damage, and then part of the effect was this pulse and then the acceleration of time,
Sure.
including with the
So
mental stuff.
so he's going to turn back and sort of assess what's going on. What does he see the orb at this point?
You see the orb. It is arcing out green lightning around it.
Does he see the two twins like sort of holding it still, or are they?
They are being absorbed and pulled into the orb itself.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think he would continue toward, he'd start walking back toward the orb, and yeah, I think he would shoot the orb again. Try to again, he feels that is something that needs to stop doing what it's doing, whatever it is.
Izzy, what are your last thoughts as you're being absorbed into this orb?
That this is extremely warm, comforting, inviting, and very peaceful.
Babs, what are you thinking?
This is extremely warm, comforting, and peaceful. I'm actually also thinking, like, of all the years of work and all the promises that were made from Melissa and all of this after that we have joined this initiative and stuff, that this is kind of the culmination of it. This is what it was for, that ultimately this was the point.
And two that became one. No, one that became two, now become one again.
And as you greet each other in the darkness, as you walk, as your bodies are completely absorbed into this orb, your mind becomes filled with a void of emptiness. And there is one green star swirling around with green flames arcing around it. And it's just you two there with this green star there. As you two are reunited, what do you say to each other?
Hello, me.
And I would, Babs would repeat that, is saying that to herself, and then is just, are we still separate or are we back as one again? Like, what is happening?
You tell me.
Kind of, okay.
It's kind of both. It's kind of not, but it's kind of both.
So we are in this void.
I almost kind of see us as, like, we start becoming ethereal and we kind of meld and then separate, meld, partially separate, meld, separate. As each of us are saying things, we'll kind of like separate and we'll say something.
And I imagine, so we have been for at least several years entirely separate, and as we meld the memories and like the private moments and the small amounts of research in our specialized areas, as we meld, are kind of shared with the other one, and then as we separate again, we kind of like snap and then back and then forth. And
yeah, and as this continues to happen, it looks as if like your energy becomes like a flame, and then it becomes green, and then it becomes absorbed into the green flame itself. Man. And the last thing you both hear as one but separate is Dr. Hawthorne saying, "Well done. Well done."
And again,
and when she says it,
ultimate
that
comforted feeling is back.
That green star kind of pulses with each statement. Well done. Well done.
It's like Siri on your phone.
And you absorb into this green star in the void. Okay.
Wow.
Outside of the orb, Silas, the woman with silver hair, and she sees you racking the shotgun. She sees your rage. And she walks up directly in front of the shotgun, in front of the barrel. And she points up at the sky. The great old one has come. It is coming. Its name, based on all of our research and all that we have done through my thousands of years of being alive, I shall not utter it, for it cannot be pronounced. But his island is there. We've determined it's Rayleigh. The Old One comes to take back his realm, to take back all living creatures on this. You know who I speak of.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Say his name.
Cthulhu.
There is one way. And she points to the chair.
One way for what?
You alone have the psychic power. With the psychic energy of Lawlerville and all the people, you can save the human race. But you have to become it. You have the shotgun pointed at her. What do you do?
He quickly sort of glances over at the mass of human sort of flesh. He glances over at Hawthorne on the ground, sort of, clutching his shattered hand. And does he recognize her at all? Like, does he know who she is? Or, I mean, does he remember?
She touches your mind. You see her in labor. You see yourself being birthed from her. You see, it's almost like a PowerPoint presentation, because the very next scene is an empty hospital with no one in it, and just your father standing there with an infant boy, with a gone mother.
Did you know what he was? Did you know what he would do to me?
My son, do you understand what I have done to bring you into existence?
Answer my question. Did you know what he would do to me?
And she looks at you, cold steel in her eyes. I told him to.
Oh.
Fuck her.
Explain to me the scene as the shotgun shell blasts through.
He says, "Well, fuck you too."
This movie is
and he
just
aims
beyond
right for her
PG-13.
face, because
Mhm.
if she knew what he planned to do, and she told him to do it,
Oof.
then she's, in his mind, the real villain here. Yeah, he just has nothing but just it's you hear that phrase, sort of someone going into red rage, and this is literally that in his mind. He was already sort of partially deaf from the sound of the shotgun blasts, but now he's just like, whoa, this is just sort of monotone, sort of haze over him, and he sort of has tunnel vision, and just he just wants to end her at any cost.
Her, from the clavicles up, becomes a pink mist from what was the woman in front of you. And her top torso falls almost unceremoniously to the ground. And what you see is the psychic presence of the woman with silver hair. And she says to you, Now it is complete as her ethereal presence fades into the giant worm behind you. Hawthorne, what do you do?
Right.
I feel like the new shotgun blast probably jolts me out of the staring up into this unfolding hyperspeed scene. And in the midst of all that is happening around us and has been happening, it seems so strange to me that the most normal thing is this crazy looking taxi driver with a shotgun. And glancing around, not seeing my sister, not seeing the two doctors, and apparently there's now, did I see this woman?
Yeah, she was a physical person.
And seeing the body slumped to the ground, that part to me, I think the soldier part of me, as soon as a body is dead, it is no longer relevant, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So that's like removed from the equation. Again, the most normal thing I see is Fender standing there with a smoking shotgun. Why are we still standing here? We need to get out of here. Remind me. We know that there's a nuke downstairs, right?
No,
we didn't.
No.
Oh, okay.
You and I don't. Yeah, that's.
Karppi didn't get a chance.
I was thinking that too
Stunned.
as we were sort of going through all this. I was trying to think. Did we know about that? And yeah, no, I don't think so.
All right. I just wanted to make sure I didn't reference something that I didn't know about. So, yeah, I just look at you, Fender. I don't even know what we're doing anymore. Why are we even here? Let's just get out of here.
you look up, you can hear from the sky. You can see now as the deep humming becomes more and more intense. Do you dare to look up? You can hear the artillery, you can hear the fire, you can almost, out of your peripheral vision, you can see cruiser missiles flying into this island.
I think
This is what's happening, for context, in the real world.
yeah.
Is it happening in this moment or?
For every second that passes, 2 days.
Oh, right,
pass.
because we're seeing time differently.
So I think, putting it in context of the soldier again,
The world is ending.
there
Just
is
for context.
there's no when you're in a war situation, the sounds of war, if you're not actively fighting, the sounds of war, it doesn't matter if they're a couple hundred yards away from you or miles away on the horizon, they become background noise. They become like the crickets at night. You don't pay attention to it because it's not immediately relevant to you until it becomes relevant. And I feel like for a few moments, that's what this is. That's the background noise to what's happening. And then this incredible bass sound happens. It's something that's out of sync with everything else happening. And I think that's the long way of saying, I think, yes, that would draw my attention. And I do think I would look up.
You see from this island, looking up, inversed that's emerged out of this cosmic river. Describe to me what you see as the Great Old One towers above it.
I think that Steve Hawthorne is a unimaginative person. He's the kind of guy that maybe read comic books or watches movies, but he doesn't dwell on them if they're not a Arnold Schwarzenegger or Stallone movie or Jason Statham or something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
He's he's very grounded. He probably wasn't even much of one for video games that weren't Call of Duty, you know. So he doesn't have a frame of reference for anything in the horror science fiction realm to where he can contextualize this. So I think what I see when I look up is something that absolutely defies any connection. There's no frame of reference for me. And I imagine it's every time I try looking at this thing, it's like my eyes slide off of it. I can't take in this image, if that makes sense. It's like trying to focus on something that you can't focus on. I guess the closest I can think of is if you wear glasses and you're blind without your glasses, it's like trying to look at something with your glasses off. Or if you've gotten yourself drunk enough to that point where you're seeing double, you know, you just can't focus on anything. It's that you're just trying to lock in on this thing and you can't. So I don't think there is a description that I can give beyond that. Is I can't focus on it enough to describe it.
Real sanity, disadvantage.
You know, it's
disadvantage.
This is the big bad. The
Not take us out of it too much, but I've actually had that experience. I used to deliver magazines, and I was driving down the road one day, and I saw something in the road, and I didn't know what it was, and it took me a matter of a minute to figure out that there was a boulder in the road. It was originally part of an industrial park that a truck had accidentally, you know, caught the edge of it and sort of dragged out into the road, but my brain couldn't understand. Couldn't literally couldn't see it as a boulder because it shouldn't be there.
Right.
And it took a matter of a minute for my brain to sort of
categorize it. If you want to feel that feeling, drive down to Florida and drive through Appalachia at 4 a.m, and your mind will do that.
Yeah.
With that said, Silas, that is a recollection of how you feel when you look upon this grand structure.
I hadn't thought of this until just now as a player. But I have all these sort of brands and tattoos across my body that my father put there. Mm-hmm. And I know that there are spells, rituals that can send old ones back to where they belong. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if Silas can sort of recall any of that. Like, can he reach back into his, because he has these sort of vivid memories of these torturous events. And so I sort of imagine him sort of just letting the shotgun fall to the ground as he looks up and sort of peel for the first time for the audience, peel back his, sort of take his shirt, remove his shirt and see this elaborate sort of essentially what his torso and even like down into his legs and onto his arms is sort of a mythos tome in and of themselves, as he sort of peels it off and looks up at the sky and begins to try and recall a way that he can close, now that he knows what he's dealing with, now that he knows it's Cthulhu. It sort of makes this sort of mental connections in his brain to a moment when his father was trying to drill into him
Mm-hmm.
all these blasphemous teachings, these things that aren't meant to be known by humanity. And he remembers that lesson,
Mm-hmm.
that particular or well, for him was a torturous event, but for his father was a learning experience.
Sure.
But
Sure.
he sort of
Education.
yeah, right. And it sort of comes back to him as even as he sort of takes off that shirt and reveals that sort of thing. But he needs far more power than he probably has, and
Imagine
he's going
Sorry,
to
go
need others he's going to need others to draw from in order to bring that enough power, he realizes, to sort of, if he wants to sort of make this thing go away, go back to where it belongs. At least that's in his mind. I don't know if this is feasible,
No.
but that's his thinking.
It is like looking at a bench press barbell with no weight on it, knowing you can lift that weight. But then when you really look at it, it has all the plates from the whole gym on it.
All of them, yeah.
And you know that is a burden that you can't lift. You look at the chair. Karppi, your ethereal presence is sitting in the chair. Tell me the image you project in the Silas's mind. Feeling, being dead, seeing beyond the veil, seeing humanity about to be completely extinguished. What is the memory that you're going to draw from Karppi's deep memories to convince Silas to become it?
You see us actually sitting in the car seat of Fender's taxi cab, right at that second that he is about to push her out the door. And she just looks at him and says, "I forgive you. Now you need to let it go."
Rebecca Worth.
Oh my God.
What is the image you give as your ethereal presence takes the presence of the chair?
So Rebecca's image is more like, it is not only an image, but it's a feeling and a memory that Fender feels like he has himself. And it's like a series of memories of all the times that Rebecca felt happy and proud and her parents telling her that, like, they're proud of her, and then her graduating college and the same kind of feelings. And then it's not just Rebecca, it's this gift of all of humanity and them being happy and babies being born and people being married and children growing up, and it's just boom 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 boom. It's all like instant flashes of like everything, and then it's back to Rebecca, and you just see Rebecca like smile and shrug, and she says, "It's worth it," and that lives up to her name.
Dr. Izzy, your presence takes the chair. What do you show Silas?
Silas sees a bunch of rapidly fired equations that go past, almost like a screen, if you will, but and maybe they don't really make much sense to him in the motion, but as they go by and they start to speed up and they twirl in the scene, there's kind of a pattern that starts to come out of it all. There's like a picture that you can see, and the feeling that it evokes is one of serenity and peace and harmony.
Dr. Babs, your presence takes the chair.
Kind of a companion with Dr. Izzy's feelings and memories. You see more equations and more numbers, and
What do the
For,
equations show?
the equations show essentially kind of like we keep referencing the Matrix because it's a really good anchor point.
Yeah.
It is all of humanity, and it's kind of what Rebecca showed, and it's the course of humanity, past and present, and the infinite multiple futures. And it's all numbers, and it's all predictable, and in these numbers that are predictable you feel a comfort because they are predictable, because they are numbers, and it's not creative license, it is just the way numbers are. And then again you flash back to Babs, and you would just see her sitting there, and she says, it can only happen one way.
Hawthorne, how many sanity did you lose looking up?
I passed.
Oh, you passed.
Both tens
Spectacular.
digits were tens. I have 21 sanity, so I rolled a 16.
Spectacular.
So I succeeded, probably because I have no imagination.
What does the little boy that you murdered say as he sits in the chair to Silas? What is the message he gives him?
I think for the first time, Silas, as you see this little boy that's tethered to Hawthorne that you've seen a few times now, you see the hold on, can you guys hear me? I got an internet spike.
Yes.
Okay.
You good?
You see the
Didn't even
entry.
stutter.
You see the entry and the exit wound in his head from where I shot him when I was on guard duty. And this boy who has half of the back of his head missing, looks at you. I think he looks at you with a look of contempt, a look of the way somebody, especially a kid, would look at you if they've been deprived of something, whether through being grounded or murdered, that anything that would have or could have mattered to this kid no longer matters because the decision to care was taken away from him by Steve. So I think where maybe everybody else is either giving permission or is kind of reinforcing whatever thought process you're having, this ghost image or whatever of this kid is sort of an antithesis to that.
How does Steve, you see this child? What do you say? What do you see? And when you see this child in the chair, and what do you say to Silas?
I don't say anything to Silas, but I probably move next to Silas, so I'm kind of in this kid's line of sight. And I say to him, if I could change what happened, if I could go back to that day, and not pull the trigger. I would go back. If I could take back what I did, I would. But it's not because I'm sorry. I would take it back so I could take back the last 4 years of my life. Silas, you would hear somebody that any compunction he has about killing this kid has nothing to do with remorse over killing a kid during wartime, but it's selfishly, it's how it affected him.
Silas, what do you do? The chair is there. It is a chair your father has put you in for so many nights.
Did what was Steve called as a young child? Did he have a nickname or?
His sister called him Stevie.
So he's gonna say with sort of a choked voice, even as you watch sort of tears, on his face, he says, "Stevie, you should go. Just go. Run." And Silas turns to the chair.
Stevie?
Silas just gave Hawthorne the permission he needed. And I think not even maybe, I think to a certain degree, while he lacks imagination, one thing he is really good at is justifying things or interpreting things in his favor. And he is choosing to interpret what Silas has just said as if Silas were the one in charge. He is the platoon leader that just gave him an order to evac, just gave him an order to get out of there, retreat, fall back. That's all the permission I needed. And I start to back away, and still cradling my ruined hand. I turn and I start heading for the door.
And when you turn towards the door, you hear the voice of your sister as a corridor of doors open up, like infinitely down a dark hallway. And Stevie, make it right. What do you do?
I answer to the voice of my sister, and I just say, I've never been able to make it right. That's you. My job's always been to fuck things up. And I start running down the hallway.
You run down the hallway, and as you run down this dark hallway, you keep running into this infinite, like the hall becomes a little more dark with each hydraulic door that opens and you walk through, and it becomes a little less discernible as a scientific laboratory until the last doorway you walk through is you standing at that control tower with the rifle looking down scope at the young man.
In that moment, knowing what I just said to this kid. Instead of pulling the trigger, while still aiming the rifle at him, I reach down with my thumb and I press the magazine release, dropping the full magazine to the floor. Still aiming it at him, I pull the charging handle back, ejecting the chambered round out. And looking down the sights at this kid, I say, if I could do it without repercussions, I would do it again. And then there's just the click of the dry firing MP5.
As you pull that trigger, a lightning thrashes across the sky, across a desert landscape, and it begins to pour rain. Silas, the cosmic river is pouring rain onto you as you stand in front of the chair by yourself in this laboratory with the mass of what is left of humanity as the great old one has left the island. And you stand in this laboratory. What do you do? The chair's in front of you. You've taken off your shirt. Your tomes are open.
Yeah. Silas turns and sort of almost collapses into the chair, resigned, and almost a wave of relief in a way goes over him. He's still sort of almost sobbing from what he heard and what he knows. And in his head he hears, his father reciting over and over and over the catechism of ritual chants and incantations that to banish these great old ones, to close the door, to slam it shut, to deny them entry. And almost reflexively he begins to repeat his father's voice in his head as he sits in the chair and begins, Igan Okatash Iako Cthulhu Atak, and he begins sort of just repeating it, and going into the incantation, into his trance, even as he sort of remembers, the visions of the people who were here with him, that led up to this, and he sinks himself into that sort of repetition, that trance state that he was taught, that for the first time he's using willingly as a way to maybe, he hopes, do something good with it, as opposed to what his father had intended.
As you're chanting, we almost see like a bench seat kind of go to your right, and Karppi is sitting there. She just reaches out and grabs your hand and holds it. And then we see Dr. Izzy kind of materialize behind your shoulder, and she just rests a calm, comforting hand on your shoulder as you continue to chant.
Very similarly, on the opposite shoulder, you then see Dr. Babs puts her hand on you. Scanning further, you see Rebecca And the same thing, almost as a mirror image, you see her rest her hand on you too.
I sort of imagine in this moment too, even as he's reciting, he sort of, sort of sees some of what sort of their past was, and sort of connects with them, but continues his recitation, Ach en ist aban Iago Cthulhu in Ashtonotaukatain Echidonka. And he continues to go on and on, putting more and more into it, knowing that he's sort of pouring everything he has into this prayer of humanity to try and push back whatever horror is above him.
The tube of Lawlerville people emanates into glowing energy. The orb, the chrome volleyball, opens up, and the green light, which is a small star, swirling and spinning about like a small sun, floats towards you. And as it comes towards you, it rests into the center of your chest, ignites all the tomes and all the sigils that are there. The mass of Lawlerville becomes a green tube of energy, and you dissipate into a ethereal presence into this energy, and it fires into the cosmic river. The front of the lab doors hiss open, and a very beaten, bloody Brock stumbles through the front doors of the lab. He digs, and he sees all the ichor and the viscera of the guts. He sees the missile, the bomb. He puts his hand into a glob of this mass, and he fishes out the blackberry. He opens up, uncodes it, hits in the passcode, and there's a simple green button that says activate. And through blood in his teeth, he smiles with a smirk and pushes detonate. And it says, "Are you sure?" And he looks around.
Runs on Windows.
Nah. He looks at everyone. He looks at the lab. And he pushes the green yes. And then a white light in slow time illuminates his face and illuminates the entire lab. And that's where we're going to end it.
Oh my God.
How is this not the finale?
Or is there one more? Ricky? Fucking, oh my God.
Tune in next month for who knows?
Maybe something new, and maybe the conclusion of this.
We
So
all
that
have
could
new
be the-
characters for the last
An episode called Smoldering Crater.
It's the beginning of our post-apocalyptic campaign.
Right.
Oh.
Well done, Ricky. Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow, 10:59.
Yeah.
Crushing it on that
Not bad.
schedule, man.
Not bad.
Thank you all. Everyone was so amazing tonight. That
Right
was
back
amazing.
at you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. I can't. I think this is nothing else I can do after this. I'm done GMing. This is the best I've ever done in my life. So thank you.
Oh my God.
You guys
you,
have been
Ricky. It's
amazing.
awesome.
I can't sing enough praises for you all. Thank you.
We're
you
all
have to
stunned
outro us.
speechless.
What is that?
Completely gobsmacked.
This is
Like,
your
We're all just
job
stunned
here.
speechless.
It's your
Yeah.
job here at MTD.
So yeah,
You're the king.
I guess that's it. I think we're coming back next month for an epilogue or a finale.
God.
But I don't know what we're coming back to. Ash and Bone.
Ash.
But yeah, this
Prequels, flashbacks, could be anything.
Mhm.
this has been incredible. Thank you to everybody who tuned in to watch with us, or if you're watching later on the VOD, you're somebody that likes to lurk silently in the chat while we play and just enjoy the show. Thank you. We appreciate you all the same.
Incredible.
And remember to head over to youtube.com/mini-terrain domain. There's actually a link in the chat right now. You can go there, check out the VOD for all of our games, including the recent Legends of Eleonora charity fundraiser celebrity game, where we still are accepting donations for the Pablo Foundation. Donation link is right there. So do check that out. But yeah, we're gonna all leave slowly in stunned silence. As I say, a huge thank you to Ricky, our historian. This is all out of his mind. Sort of supplemented with all of our twisted minds as well.
Yeah, you guys did it. You guys did it. You guys did it.
A huge thank you to Ricky, and of course to Kaeryn, Alex, Cari, myself, and though he's not with us, he's been with us in spirit.
And in nukes.
Dwight, aka Brock, without whom this would have just been Ricky talking to himself for a couple hours, which somehow feels normal.
Yeah, drawing these strange pictures.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
With that,
The glyphs.
with that, we're gonna go ahead and end this stream the same way we end every stream, and you can say it with me if you want.